So people keep asking me, what is Power Query? And I thought it would be easier if I just show you. So Power Query is found on the data ribbon. And in this version, I'm in 2016. It's from the Get and Transform area. So it does what it says. It's going to get the data from somewhere and then transform it. Then we can turn it into a pivot table for further analysis. So you can see here we can get data from a CSV or a web page, from a table or range, or from a database from different sources here. So there's lots of things Power Query can do, and I'll just give you a couple of examples. I'm going to turn my data into a table. So I'm going to go Control T. Now this data is messy and I can't analyze it. What I want to do is get it to a point where it can be created into a pivot table like this. So this is where Power Query can do its magic. You can see here I'm on the data ribbon and I'm going to select my data or get it from a table or range, and I've got the cursor positioned inside that. So it takes a minute and now Power Query is opened. You'll see it's a whole new part inside Excel. It's brilliant. This is such a neat new feature. You can see here, first of all, Auckland. I'd like Auckland to go all the way down the first column until it hits Wellington, and then I want Wellington to continue down that same column. So I'm going to go to the transform area and fill, and I'm going to fill down. So it's done it for me, right down the first column, and then it changes to Wellington and continues that down. So fill down, that's easy. This one here, I'd like to fill up. Can you see here, commercial should be in all of these departments, and then property in all of these departments. So simply click inside the department and then fill up. Oh, I love this. Now I want to get rid of the null values here, which are actually the totals. So I don't need these totals either, because I'm going to analyze this further in a pivot table. So I'm just cleaning the data up. So I'll simply go to the employee drop-down arrow, and I can just turn off those null values. Great, so it's got rid of those. I quite like that I can drag and drop and relocate the columns so simply, and I can change the format of the columns. If it was currency, I could simply change the format just here. Now over here I'm going to give it a name. So it's CPD hours. So it's the continuing professional development hours that these people have done for these particular departments. Now what I love about Power Query is you can jump down at any time and you can see exactly what you've done. So I can delete aspects of this, I can add extra steps in if I need to. It's recording the steps. So that means later on I can add more data to the original and then just refresh, and Power Query will know what steps to take to refresh that data. So I'm going to go to Home and then Close and Load. So I'm back in Excel. Here's my original data, here's my table that it's created, and now I can create a pivot table from here. I'll simply go Insert Pivot Table and click on OK. I can close this Queries and Connections window, I don't need that anymore. And then I can simply just throw my hours in and maybe the office there, and if I wanted the departments into the row area, and I've got my pivot table, I've got that great summary. But let's see how we can refresh it and how it refreshes right through to this pivot table. I'm going back to the main data and I'm going to put a new person in here. If I go Control Shift Plus, it's going to add a new person in here. Put myself in. Well, I've done 100 hours. Let's make something big, so our commercial is 150 hours now. I'll go back to my query and right click and refresh. You can see my name is added here in 100 hours. And then I'll go to the pivot table and I'll right click and refresh. And you can see the commercial is 150 hours there. So Power Query is amazing, and having that automation just makes life so much easier. There's so much you can do in Power Query. So give me a call or drop me an email and I can come and do training at your workplace.